The hunt is on. Hundreds are flocking to the tables, and the name of the game is survival.
I definitely need to approach each day of a major event differently.
Day one for me is always just about getting through.
Now's the time to separate the lions from the lambs.
All you can do is just play your A game.
The key characteristics to be a top player, one of them is patience.
Who shall stand? Who shall fall? We're at the 10th PokerStars.com EPT London main event, here at the Grand Connaught Rooms. This is the second of 2 day ones. Almost 400 players have registered today, and 286 are still alive after the dinner break. But registration's still open, and one player who's been spotted about town is 13-time World Series bracelet winner, Phil Hellmuth.
I feel like some great stuff is going to happen to me in the next few weeks. It's almost like you know something cool is going to happen.
Poker's biggest stars are aligning. Who will be this year's king or queen of London? Last time, Liv Marie had a strong grip on the feature table.
Are we 1-2?
Yep.
Rose.
Victoria Curran-Mitchell tried to liven things up on her end.
Staunch defence of the blinds. No stealing.
Vanessa Selp sparred with a local loudmouth.
Get down, man. What the f***? Don't be a hero. The only way to win the spot is by raising all in.
And Jason Mercier won a prop bet by managing to stay quiet for a whole level.
He didn't talk for an hour and a half, so it was worth it.
And now we are into the evening session at the Grand Connaught Rooms with the remaining players returning for the final 2 levels of the day.
Vicky Corrin is at our main featured table. Not only is she a former London champ, but she's also a bona fide English celebrity. I guess Keith Lemon wasn't available. She's got chips, but there is a surprising lack of fish.
Agreed. Also on the main stage, a high roller regulars Ola Shemian and Phil Gruesome.
Not many fish at our secondary featured table either, headlined by Vanessa Russo and Grinder. Oh my God, Grinder in London. Can you imagine?
We don't have to. Grinder's got his work cut out for him. He's joined on his table by Vanessa Russo. She's won a high roller title on the tour, and now she's chasing a main event trophy.
Me personally, I play day ones a little looser, putting my opponents to tougher decisions.
And on our feature table, we've got another female team pro in the form of Victoria Curran-Mitchell. She's never been one to shy away from the spotlight.
I guess when you're on the TV table, I think you should muck around a bit.
A couple more levels to play, and then it's through to day 2. Players filing back into this stunning venue, a suitable venue for one of the most prestigious events in the poker calendar.
There's November 9er Michiel Brummelhaus and last year's London champ Ruben Visser. These two are so Dutch, they're talking about splitting a lunch check. And speaking of splitting things, we lost one half of the hip-hop duo Madcon before the break.
They tried to trick us.
Noah Boken won his EPT title in the very first season of the tour. Liv Marie won her trophy in season 6.
And they both have weird superfluous E's in the middle of their names. Marvin Rettenmeyer and Liv did a karaoke duet of Time of My Life in Barcelona. There is YouTube evidence, but did he do the lift? Vanessa's back, and she's at our secondary feature table, having made a coffee run. Caffeine and sugar for dinner. Excellent choice.
And she's offering to share with Dan O'Brien.
Now, I knew this city was going to chew up Grinder. He probably went all the way to the Seven Sisters tube stop thinking it was a gentleman's club.
You're gruesome, are you?
Yeah.
That's a fantastic name.
Yeah, beautiful, yeah?
Yeah, my gruesome opponent.
The clock is running, right?
That's all his way of saying, let's get this party started.
So we've got 2 super high roller regulars at the feature table, plus 4 Brits, one of whom, Victoria Curran-Mitchell, is an EPT champ. She won her title here in London in season 3. Lines are currently 250, 500 with a 50 ante.
12. 12.
12?
Sorry.
All right, 1200.
Sorry, yeah.
Online qualifier Andrew Newson raising under the gun +1 with pocket 5s. Phil Gruesome with ace-jack suited in the hijack. He just calls. Table chip leader Kenny Hallett's on the button. He passes.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, that's all right.
How much do you got? About 12, 11?
Huh?
11 or 12?
Vicky Coroner's called in the small blind. Ola Shemian looks down at King-Queen in the big blind.
This is a perfectly fine hand to just call with.
Or you can do this. Re-raise to 5,000.
My guess is 3-betting is Ola's default setting. Out of position, it's also fine. You just sometimes get yourself into some weird spots.
The original razor folds. Gruesome
I do like Shemian's sizing.
also passes.
Wow. Thought he might have looked him up in position.
All right, go on then. Because you have such a sweet smile, I'll let you have it.
And Vicky folds her dominated king.
Maybe Vicky forgot she's married. And there are cameras. And that he's barely not a teenager.
Vicky's still playing an above-average stack.
Oh, so there's Grinder. You know, actually, he does look like a man who's just been to Seven Sisters. Oh, watch the cable. He won't even have cards when he sits down, but I bet he tries to raise.
So the 90-minute break?
Longer. Check.
Well, there is a hand in progress. Vanessa Russo has gone to the turn against Mustafa Kanit, who won an event on the Italian Poker Tour back in 2011. He's bet 4,700 with top pair, top kicker.
And Vanessa's got a pair and a flush draw, which you'll see someone fold about as often as you see a beautiful bilingual professional poker player with a degree from Duke.
And she hits her flush on the river.
Vanessa first to act, and it looks like she's going to lead all of a sudden, which some folks won't agree with, but since it's a king, there are a lot of hands that could have caught up a little bit and can maybe call.
And Kanit does call.
I think Vanessa maybe could have bet a little bit bigger, but hey, maybe that's what made him call.
Kanit did about half his stack in that hand.
I do love it when you pick up those backdoor draws. I love it.
Sometimes
They're so hard to see.
You know what's not hard to see? The fact that you're negating Mustafa's feelings. Gosh.
Vanessa among the chip leaders, 5th on the leaderboard. 2 EPT champs in the top 10, Davide Katai and Liv Boeri. Stephen Warburton leads. He was the bubble boy in EPT London Season 8.
And guess what, James? There he is, the GOAT.
Helmuth in the house.
18-9 is in this room in the back. Thank you.
Did I say GOAT? I should have said coat. Take the blue pill, Neo.
As Phil takes his seat, let's see how Vanessa Selbst is coping with William Kassouf's verbals.
In the meantime, 250, 500. Oh, I got chirping chips now, make it 1250. Blind, no look. Let's gamble. I didn't look. Did I look? Did you see me look? At one or both? How do you know I looked at both? Wow, you're good. You're good. I thought I looked at one. Let me hang on. If I've made a mistake, can I take it back, dealer? I thought I looked at one. Now I've looked at both. Now I've looked at both.
Jason Tompkins has called the 1250. Action now on Vanessa in the big blind. Dario Manieri's just arrived at the table, has no idea what he's walked into.
Vanessa is not impressive.
Neil, when are you going to get me on TV, mate? You keep promising, all these empty promises. I'll get you when there's a slot and the rest of it.
You're on TV.
Still silence. There's still silence. Not even one word out of you.
Maybe you should be doing what Neil's doing then.
We three-way? Oh, we can't do speech play yet. Okay.
All this talking doesn't fly in a multi-way pot.
Action check to Tompkins. He bets 1,900. Vanessa's out.
Here we go.
19. Your age. Can't gamble in the States, but you can gamble here, can't you? That's lucky. 19. Give you the benefit this one. 2 overs. Give you credit.
I know it's only the second stop of season 10, but that's the front runner for best fold speed so far.
Tompkins wins the pot. And Vanessa Selbst hovering around average right now, 42,000.
In case you're wondering, yes, she is wearing her noise-canceling face.
Let's head across the room and check on Phil Helmuth, who is sat to the right of Marvin Rettenmeyer.
Come on, great one.
Okay. 1,500.
He's raising from under the gun.
The old 3X under the gun. This man has his finger on the pulse.
British Bodiga final tabled Berlin in Season 8.
All in.
And he's shoving from the button. Luca Paganu's out.
How much is it?
Action's injured. I'll tell you later.
Action is on former footballer John Carew.
Plus, how much?
Is that like 9,000 something?
425 all in. 9425.
How much?
9,425.
Alma folds.
One of the best folders ever. The man has 12 bracelets.
13.
13 bracelets.
Tush Badiga now has 11,000 chips. We're heading back to the feature table where we are going to sweat with Victoria Corin Mitchell. We will only see Vicky's hole cards.
Someone's at least gonna wake her up, right? What is happening? Is she all right? Ah.
Action starts with an under-the-gun raise from Ola Shemian. Cully Sadhu, who won GUKPT Manchester in 2010, calls from under the gun +1. Phil Gruesome, not going to play this hand. James Sims on the button. He's had a few cashes at events at the Dust Till Dawn Poker Club in Nottingham. He's called in position, and Vicky's got jacks in the big blind.
I know it's tempting to 3-bet and thin the herd here a bit.
Raise.
And that's what she's doing.
But jacks play totally fine post-flop, and you don't really want to reopen the action. Jacks, so hard to play.
Shemian, the original raiser, has ace-10 offsuit. He folds.
All right, so he's not a total maniac raising under the gun.
Cully Sadhu is re-raising. That's a 4-bet to 14,200.
And I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Sims is out. He had queen-8. Vicky wants to see Sadhu's stack.
Well, this move is what me and the boys downtown like to call the back raise, and from anyone but Ola, this is pretty much never a bluff.
This is a curious one.
The curious case of Benjamin closest to the button.
You've been so quiet all this time. And now you suddenly make this play.
Vicky is sniffing this out like a cheap cologne, and for once, it's not mine. Also, I agree with her. This seems fairly obv.
Okay. Seeing as it's you.
She folds. And as suspected, Cully Sadhu had a monster. Pocket kings.
Well, I don't really recommend 3-bet folding a hand as strong as Jack's very often, but she did get a lot of information.
That's a very strange hand.
She folded the worst hand.
How would you have played jacks in that spot? Tag your responses. EPT.
I can't believe we're here! Da 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 da. A circus! This isn't a real circus.
No, it's not.
And all up and down Regent Street where it says arcade?
Not full of video games.
Why do you do this to me?
Welcome back to the PokerStars.com EPT London main event. Before the break, Victoria Corin Mitchell tanked over a tough decision before finally folding pocket jacks.
I had a pair of jacks, and I played my hand quite strongly. Raise. And suddenly this guy that hadn't done anything at all suddenly raised. He just obviously had aces, this guy hadn't done anything, so I had to fold. But before folding, I thought I'd have a bit of fun with him and tease him a bit. This is a curious one. What's up? This is curious. You've been so quiet all this time. I suddenly come up against a brick wall, and now you suddenly make this play. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Seeing as it's you.
Vicky folds.
I think they think I'm trying to get information. They think it's part of my pro strategy. No, I'm just trying to have a chat.
And that's why we love you, Vicky. Well, she could be in action again because she's picked up jacks again, facing an early position raise from Phil Gruesome. And Vicky 3-bets to 2,800.
3-betting jacks is fine when you want to get it in, like when they're short or you're short. Gruesome short, so this may be the case.
And with ace-king, I think you will want to get it in.
All in.
He shoves.
Raise all in.
And Vicky calls. And it's a race. Gruesome flipping for his tournament life.
Top is the ace of spades, 8 of diamonds, jack of hearts.
What?
And the turn?
5 of hearts. It's not the jack of hearts. You said jack of hearts. That may be coming on the river, but that's the 5.
Did I say jack of hearts?
You did. Come on, let's all call for the jack of hearts.
4 hearts.
Good needle, good needle.
Oh, Juppy.
And the river.
Jack of hearts.
The 7 of clubs. Gruesome doubles up.
Oh, come on then, send me the bill.
Don't you mean send me the fill?
Vicky's now lost twice in a row with jacks. That hand cost her 11K.
Youch. You see, Vicky's written, but I think what she really means is, boop.
She does have a way with words.
I genuinely have no idea what my job is. I think I would say I'm a writer, because that's the thing I do that's difficult. My father was a writer, and my mother was a doctor, so a fairly straightforward middle-class childhood. Professionally, I'm sure I was influenced by my father. I mean, I think a lot of people want to be writers or dream of being writers. I think the problem is they don't think it's possible. People wonder sometimes, they say, oh, is it easy for you if you have a famous parent or a parent who does the same job? The advantage is really that you think it's possible. Writing columns is probably the trickiest way of doing journalism. You have to generate opinions all the time, and especially these days, you get stick for them. When I find a story that makes me angry or that I think is funny or that I have an opinion about, that's what I write about. And then I've written a book about my life playing poker. The place of poker in my weird life sort of changes all the time. I mean, it was always a hobby, and I think it still is one. I won the EPT London in 2006.
Vicky shows 6-7, she flapped the nuts straight.
And that felt like a story arc. I started playing poker, as a teenager around the kitchen table for, a few quid with my brother's friends. And 20 years later, I've won $1 million in this sort of record-breaking tournament, and there's all this press about it. And I could see that's a journey. I think it must be a sign that my TV career is the thing I care about least, because I don't remember it very well. I remember the writing stuff and the poker, but, I presented a few series of late-night poker, I did commentary on TV, and I do this quiz, Only Connect. The presenting of it is quite fun. I mean, obviously, I get sent the questions in advance, they're not a surprise to me. I get the scripts and, I play them. I normally score pretty well. But the show, it gets harder as the series progresses, so by the time I'm looking at the questions for the final, I'm usually just giggling, what they mean. It's something that people ask you quite a lot. What are you hoping to achieve next? What do you want to win? What do you want to do? I never really think like that. I don't think I want to be the world champion. I want to win the Booker Prize. I want to host a variety show. It's probably very much jack of all trades and mistress of none. But I don't want to stop doing any of them. Maybe I should have bigger goals, but I think small, little goals.
I think Vicky is legit good at everything she does. And how many times do you have to check in at your local casino on Facebook before they name it after you?
We're heading to the outer tables where 2 former champs are racing. David Van Plu is at risk and behind. The river card is a king. Van Plu doubles up through David E. Katai.
David E. less than David V. Flippity-doo-dah.
61.
He may have doubled up, but he's still got a case of the vamps.
It's okay to smile.
Yep.
What a nice boy helps the dealer clean up the cards.
And Van Plu is still reasonably short, playing the better part of 13,500. Looks like we're going to see 2 other EPT champs going head-to-head.
28.
Liv Boeri re-raises Ruben Visser.
And before dinner, Liv was more aggressive than the 5 p.m. 2 at Oxford Street.
Visser calls the 3-bet out of position. flop is 9-7-3 with 2 hearts. Ruben checks.
Looks like Liv's gonna continue.
4,000.
The only thing that might be a little dubious here is the size of this C-bet. Relative to the size of the pot, it's fine, but the more often you're bluffing in a spot, the smaller your bet's supposed to be.
Ruben Visser folds. He now has below starting stack.
Not nearly as much fun.
Liv up over 62,500.
And Liv is old pals with Phil Hellmuth. He once coached her on a reality show years ago when she was just getting started in poker.
Hellmuth isn't the only legend in the room. Daniel Negreanu having a great day 1B, up to nearly 90K.
And he must be falling on hard times because that is not his usual brand of water.
Across the room, Jason Mercier is short stacked and all in, coming over the top of Paul Volpe's open.
And for this amount, it probably ain't getting through.
Andrew Lowe is re-raising. Volpe folds.
I think I'm
You're flipping, Jason.
giving a head.
Marginal favorite.
Over Moby.
That's a good flop.
We show joy.
Jason has his opponent drawing dead on the turn.
Yeah, my bad.
Oh, jeez.
Next time. Do something like ride the bull or something.
My lucky friend over here with 100,000.
No, next time you win, jump up and ride the bull. Do some sort of dance. An absurd dance.
I like how Paul used the word absurd as if Jason could do any other kind of dance.
At the secondary feature table, Vanessa Russo is in the big blind, facing a raise from Mustafa Kanit.
Make it 28.
Vanessa is going to re-raise a 3-bet to 2,800.
Vanessa's 3-betting a good reshoving stack with a not great ace. Since he's raising 10-8 here, it's probably okay in the long run, but if he shoved, she'd be in a weird spot, and rarely would she be a big favorite.
Kanit doesn't shove, he just calls.
He was getting an all right price in position.
The flop is 5-4 deuce with 2 hearts.
Not really any piece of this board. I guess a gut shot and backdoor hearts.
Vanessa continues, 3,300.
Kanit's got 0 of this board.
And Kanit is forced to fold. Vanessa Russo adds nearly 3.5K to her stack. She's got 89,700. She is one of the notable names with a big stack, along with Davide Katai and Daniel Negreanu. At the opposite end of the spectrum, Joseph Waldemariam from MadCon is on the short side, as is Jason Mercier from Team Pro. In fact, Jason is all in again. And he's been called by Mudassar Hussain. Jason with ace-6, Hussain with ace-queen.
Domination Nation. And what's Jason doing with fake 500-pound notes? Even I know they only go up to 50. I once saw one when James was taunting a busker.
7. Good game, guys.
Not the run-out Jason Mercier was looking for.
Wait, he's got a full house. 7's full. Oh.
He is out of the EPT London main event.
Time to go, guys.
The Merce dog.
If you want to play in an EPT event, go to PokerStars.com, where there are qualifiers every day.
Do you guys know what time the circus starts?
What? Circus?
Do you know what time the circus starts? This guy sold me tickets to the circus here. I know you gotta know where the circus is. I bought tickets from a guy over there for 50 pounds each. You guys know what time the circus starts? At 11? Just waiting for the circus to start.
Welcome back to the PokerStars.com EPT at the Grand Connaught Rooms, hosted by the Hippodrome Casino. Before the break, former London High Roller champ Jason Mercier hit the rail.
Yeah, it was a good day. Unfortunately, at the table, it didn't go too well. I thought I played pretty well. Didn't really make too many mistakes and got a little bit unlucky. No big deal.
Maybe you got a little unlucky, but at least beer is still a thing. We can all be thankful for that.
Several former winners of this tournament are still alive. David Vamplu, who won nearly $1 million back in Season 7. Benny Spindler, who took down this event in Season 8.
Oh, I thought that was Harry Styles. I just now got that.
The reigning champ, Ruben Visser. And at our feature table is the first ever woman to win an EPT, the champion of London Season 3, Victoria Coren Mitchell.
You seem really pumped to get it in. Thank you.
Well, I always am. It's exciting. It so is as well.
Action is on Kenny Hallett. He folds. Vicky's got pocket sevens.
Seems good enough for a poke.
She raises to 1100. King Queen offsuit for Olashemian.
Well, if I know Olashemian, and I'd like to think I do, he is gonna 3-bet this.
He re-raises to 2,900. Kuli Sadhu's got kings again.
See, this is what happens when you 3-bet all the live long day. You put in a lot of chips with a hand that generally flops well, and you force your opponent's range to be so tight that you can't even play the damn hand anyway. And Phil Gruesome, will you please sit down?
Sadhu has 4-bet to 9,000.
Also, this 4-bet is pretty big.
Folded back around to Vicky, she quickly passes. And Shemian gets out of the way as well.
Sadhu twice gets no action on kings. Tight image.
I've made a mental note, don't you worry about that.
mental note of what? What did I miss? What, do you have a bug hanging?
Heading over to the secondary feature table where Vanessa Russo's in action again, going 3-way to the flop with ace-3 against Dan O'Brien's ace-jack and Grinder's pocket fours.
Mumbly Grinder.
Vanessa raised to 1,200. O'Brien and Grinder called. The flop is 9-7-3. Vanessa with bottom pair. And with the action check to her, she'll continue for 2,600.
And Grinder has got her 3s pipped. We know it's not the scariest board for 4s. We know Grinder's tougher to get rid of than Smash Mouth tickets.
Dan O'Brien has folded. Grinder calls. 10 of diamonds on the turn. Grinder checks a second time. Vanessa checks behind.
Everybody wants their showdown value now.
Check.
6 on the river.
I check.
Grinder shows the 4s. Vanessa shows her 3.
Just 2 players with 2 marginal hands trying to get to showdown. Sounds like it could be a Smash Mouth lyric. You don't come to think of it, I bet Grinder's been to a Smash Mouth concert.
We don't often see Grinder on the EPT, whereas Vanessa Russo has been on the tour for several seasons and no doubt has some fond memories.
So my favorite EPT memory would probably be the 2009 EPT high roller. I think there was a girl who won that year, like almost $1 million. Oh yeah, me. So that was a pretty cool final table. I had Tony G, which was pretty cool. Some other German pros there. A few other well-known people. It was a very tough final table. A lot of high-level skilled play. It was a lot of fun to take it down. People must always think that like after you win a big tournament that you go like immediately party, and I'm not saying I didn't go celebrate my win eventually, but that night was at the tail end of playing for 3 days straight, was exhausted, you know? And so I think I just went to bed. So lame, but I made up for it. I threw some good parties later that summer.
Well, let's check on the other Vanessa, Miss Selpst, and her bestest friend, William Kassouf. She's raised, he's called.
Okay, Vanessa, what you got? Now we're heads up. Wait, you got a pair? Yes or no?
It's possible.
Ace high flop.
Vanessa's so good at the analytical portion of the game, but her table talk could use a little work. Somebody give me Devilfish on his mobile. All right, page him then.
Standard C, but let me just see if I've got this ace that I need to continue in this hand. I was lucky.
Doesn't hit Jack Deuce.
No, I haven't got Jack Deuce. Well, I think you got King Queen.
I think you might be right. Your move, Hotshot.
I've got to find out where I am, right? Can't just flat. I'm in position on a scary board. I mean, if you want to play a big pot, do you want to play big pot or small pot? It's up to you. Big pot or small pot, depending on your answers.
Depends on the turn.
Well, before we get to the turn, depending on your answers, how I'm going to play this hand, whether I raise or just flat call. Do you want to play a big pot or a small pot? Small pot, it's up to you.
Medium.
Medium?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll raise.
It's obvious the answer there was just yes.
36 more.
Show the Jack 5.
I won't, I'll show the Jack 9. Whee! Here we go, here we go. You see, no ace can't call, here we go. It's all going in. This level, one of us is going out, I swear.
No ace can't
Listen, go hard or go home. We're not messing with Hey, bello, eh? Wow, wow. But why I make this move? I have Jack of Heart, this big card. Jack of Heart, you see, big heart. Heart comes on the turn.
Do you think that you don't have the best hand?
I think I do. Maybe. Well, I've got to protect my hand.
Actually, you really
I had
think
to
that
find out.
that
I had to find out where I was. I wasn't sure.
He might not have known where he was, but I have a pretty good feeling Vanessa's about to tell him where to go.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, Vanessa, welcome to every card room in England.
Well, let's head back to our secondary feature table. Dan O'Brien 3-bet pre-flop. Grinder cold called with kings.
What annoying flop for 2 kings.
2,700.
Dan continues the flop.
But you can't go immediately folding 2 kings in a 3-bet pot just because there's an ace on board. Especially not if you're Grinder.
Grinder calls. The turn card is the 6 of clubs.
I don't think we're going to see Dan slow down here too often.
4,600.
O'Brien bets again.
Looks like Grinder's getting stickier than the handrail in the tube in mid-August.
He calls again. O'Brien with less than a pot-sized bet behind. And a king on the river!
Wow, that king is the worst thing to happen to an O'Brien since Jay Leno took back the Tonight Show.
Dan slows down, he checks.
Slowing down not necessarily because of the king, but because he's been stationed twice. Likely going to reevaluate after he sees what Grinder does.
Grinder bets enough to put Dan all in.
Grinder's bombed it, which might make Dan fold, but it's Grinder, and he always bombs it, which might make Dan call. I don't know how you get away from this.
Dan O'Brien finds a way to make a good laydown.
Wow. What a nice guy. Bing, 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 boop, bloop, bloop. Tilt, 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 tilt. People say aggression is the name of the game, which is pretty good, but I'm also kind of a big fan of getting there.
Grinder not doing badly. Katai and Negreanu continue to make good progress on day 1B. Latecomer Phil Helmuth has lost nearly a third of his starting stack.
Yikes.
Would have been just you and I raising every hand.
Good times.
We're staying out in the field because Joseph Waldemariam from MadCon is all in.
And much like most of MadCon's music, Waldemariam is covered.
Stephen Warburton calls, putting Waldemariam at risk. Ace-Queen against King-9.
So it's the guy from MadCon versus the robotic taxi driver from Total Recall. Check out his avatar. It's Johnny Cab.
Waldemariam survives. Blinds are up. 300, 600 with a 75 ante.
Now's when the real poker starts.
Phil Gruesom's got pocket jacks.
So I promised to buy another one. The blinds are wrong.
What was that last part? It sounded like someone on the hood of an old car.
Okay.
He raises to 1,300. James Sims has pocket queens.
Sims. Booby.
There's the re-raise. A 3-bet to 4,000.
Big re-raise. Lucky for him, he's going to get axe shown no matter what.
The blinds fold. It's back on Gruesome. Sims is the effective stack. He's got around 19,000 behind. And Gruesome re-raises, 4-betting to 8,500. And I think we know what Sims is going to do next.
With a stack of 18.7K. Yeah, hard to get. What is it you people call jelly here?
Jam.
Yeah. That.
I'm all in.
Here we go. And Gruesome calls.
Jacks versus a pair of Lady Kings. Things aren't looking too good for Mr. Gruesome. He knows he can't reload in this, right?
He's not the player at risk. Sims needs these queens to hold to survive. So far, so good, and he's the only one with a heart.
Looking pretty good.
James Sims just has to fade a jack on the river. He doubles up through Gruesome. Sims now above average.
You know it's not average. This giant chip I just dropped out of my pocket! Guess what? Joke's on you, buddy. This is a circus.
Joe, it takes more than a few lights and popcorn and a comedy oversized lollipop to make a circus. I mean, are there animals?
Yeah, there are pigeons and American tourists.
Are there acrobats?
Yes, actually, there's a guy sleeping on that fountain at a very awkward angle.
Now you mention it, there are actually quite a lot of freaks around here.
Look, I can see 3 bearded ladies right there.
Okay, let's get out of here. Welcome back to the PokerStars.com EPT London main event. We are into the last level of the night.
Survive the day and you get to bag your chips and come back for day 2. And cake! Wait, I'm sorry, I'm being told there's no cake.
18.
At our feature table, James Sims has raised under the gun +2 with ace-king. Pocket 10s for Victoria Curran Mitchell. She calls. Andrew Newson in the small blind has pocket 9s. He calls.
3 strong hands and nobody 3-bet? Hallelujah!
Parak gives up the big blind, so 3 Brits are going to the flop.
Feels so steamed, nobody 3-bet. He wants his hand back.
Queen Jack 6 with 2 clubs.
This is like a not very good flop for anyone.
Newson checks. Sims checks. And Vicky checks behind.
Yeah, I'll say.
The board pairs on the turn. Newson checks again.
Seems like a reasonable spot for James to start betting. He could have the best hand, and he's not often drawing dead.
Delayed C-bet of 3,000. Vicky with the best hand, an 81% favorite. And she folds.
Understandable. 2 overcards out there. But look at Newson.
He calls.
Nice call, Newson.
We now have a double paired board.
It's not a good flop for 9s, but it's not a terrible run out.
Newson checks a 3rd time. And Sims checks behind.
Ace-King decides to take the showdown value, which would be good against a lot of busted draws. Oof, folded 10s.
3 9s.
Yes, she knows.
Vicky down to 22,000, but faring better than Fatima Maria de Melo, who has just been eliminated.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
We'll miss you, Fatima Morea, Lara Flynn Boyle, de Melo. We'll miss you.
Very focused. Let's get the eye of the tiger.
Now he's got the ear of the tiger. Oh, that's a lot of graphics. What is happening?
Well, Joe, there's been a raise from Grant Levy, a 3-bet from Andreas Torbegson, which has been called by Kitty Quo, Luca Pagano, and John Carew.
It's like the opening to a sitcom.
I'm not folding. I call.
Well, he was getting 7-1. He should call if he's got a pair of Richard Branson's business cards, which we know he does because he's a baller.
Grant Levy calls as well, which means we are going 6-way to the flop.
6 ways till Sunday.
Might have been a little different if it were just the 3 of us.
And the flop.
Yeah. I would have.
Are you just not welcome, mommy?
No, I might have jammed it. Or fold.
6 players.
Ace 9-3 with 2 hearts.
Check. Check.
Well, I imagine someone's got an ace.
You're supposed to play pretty tight in these spots, but I'd be shocked if everyone missed completely.
It's been checked all the way around. Deuce of clubs on the turn.
Now we should see some betting. It's a pretty safe board, even for a 9.
Check. 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 Check.
Once again, it's been checked around.
What is happening?
7 of hearts. Surely someone got there on the river. Someone must have made a flush.
Check. Check. Check.
Anyone?
Check.
Luca? It gets checked to showdown.
I have a big pair.
And it wins?
Call jack. Tens.
Helmuth with tens. And no one can beat that.
Nobody's got an ace. It's a Christmas miracle.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that's it. Goes 6 wins with the flop, comes ace high, he wins with tens. In 3-way pot.
You're a sorcerer, Phil.
I was worried about her. I thought she had queens.
That's not a woman.
I have to say, that might be the weirdest thing I've ever seen on the EPT. I have to say, that might be the weirdest thing I've ever seen on the EPT.
It's awkward saying that in a room full of men.
Why is it awkward, Daniel? This is the 90s.
Back at the feature table, Phil Gruesome is facing a 3-bet from James Sims.
Now it's Sims getting a little out of line, and you know what? I like it. I think it's a fine spot for a bluff, and I also don't mind a call blind on blind. Jack 6 doesn't play well at all post flop, so 3-betting and trying to win it now is totes cool with me. Doesn't look like it's gonna work though.
Gruesome calls.
Nah, bummer.
And Gruesome flops second pair. Sims' best hope is a queen for a chop.
It's gonna be tough for Sims to bluff him off of this with just one bet.
28.
28.
Fires 2,800.
Kind of a small bet, but I don't mind it because I don't think Gruesome's folding for pretty much any amount. And I can't think of too many hands Gruesome would have where the bet size would make a difference here.
Phil calls. The turn card is the 4 of hearts. Gruesome now picks up a flush draw to go with second pair.
Check, check.
Check, check.
Nah, when Sims checks, I think he gives up on this pot. Keep repping strong, bro. Keep repping strong.
Ace of clubs on the river.
I think this river would be a terrible spot for Sims to start bluffing again.
Gruesome has checked to him. And Sims bets 4,200.
I think there are very few hands that are beating Phil that would play it this way, and they're all monsters. I think in the end, this should be a pretty easy call for Gruesome.
You check back a strong hand. Flush, maybe. Are you bluffing me? You like to bluff these guys. Didn't try to bluff me so far.
Good on Sims for getting Gruesome to even consider a fold here. And I think maybe because this bet is so small and it looks like such a bad spot to bluff, Phil might just think he's not bluffing.
Gruesome folds.
Wow.
I'll bluff anyone.
Bad, man.
It's not exclusive.
It was such a bad spot for a bluff that it worked. I'm gonna go ahead and give Sims full credit planning it that way, but I'm subtracting half credit for showing it after.
Over to the secondary feature table, where Grinders picked up kings again. Heads up against Byron Caverman on the turn. And kings are still good.
This hand went 7 ways to the flop after an under-the-gun limp from Vanessa. Then Caverman bluffed the flop and everyone else folded. Why do I feel like this would only happen when we're not watching?
Grinder bets 3,600.
Grinder is tough to play against. He's super aggro and he always bets big. He's never not putting you to the test.
Caverman calls.
Generally, against a player like that, you have to keep folding until you have a hand.
5 on the river, both players with a full house now. Suffice to say, Grinder has the winning hand and bombs the river for nearly 13K.
Not a terrible card for Caverman. Technically, he improved, but he's not beating many more hands now than he was before. Still, because of the way Grinder plays, it'd be super easy for him to talk himself into a call the way you talk yourself into an extra cookie because you took the stairs today.
All right. Want to see it?
Once again, Grinder shows the kings.
Pretty dang near the nuts. Keep playing like that, and Captain Cameron might just make Admiral.
I should have said you should have showed me first. What do you have? I should have said you should have showed. I'll show you.
I made my hand and folded.
Did you, right? A 5 or a queen?
Then I fold a queen.
This guy, fold a queen to Grinder.
So last couple of hands of the night, and then day 1B is in the books.
I am bushed.
Action has been folded around to Kenny Hallett. He passes.
Come on, Kenny, play a hand.
Vicky's got ace-queen. She raises the button. While Shemin gives up the small blind. Kuli Sadu's got 10-7 suited in the big blind. He defends.
Standard raise, standard defend. Plus, remember, Vicky's got notes on this guy.
3,500 in the middle. And a full house for Vicky. Sadu checks.
You owe me $100.
Vicky continues for 2K.
Nah, I'm not the biggest slow player in the world, but there isn't much that can call her on a flop like this.
And Sadu folds. I'm sensing Vicky's frustration. And talking of frustration, Vanessa Selps has spent the whole day sparring with William Kassouf. Now she finds herself all in on the flop against Jason Tompkins. A pair and a flush draw against top pair, which improves to trips on the turn. And Vanessa's fate is sealed on the river.
Will she walk out of here or will she blast off? Looks like walking.
Right play with it.
Good play.
Okay.
Well, look at this guy classing it up when it matters.
Marvelous.
I can't tell if he's being serious and he's happy because a great player is out or if he's being sarcastic because he was having so much fun tilting her.
He was entertaining sometimes annoying, and I had to have my headphones and like tell him to shut up a couple times. But beyond that, that's like okay, whatever, if that's what you want to do. But he was just taking so long every hand. I think there was a stretch of like an hour that I called the clock on him like every single hand that he played. I just started calling the clock because it was ridiculous. I mean, I think we were playing like no more than 10 hands an hour. It's just really, really frustrating.
So if that was Vanessa Selps, this person bagging chips is Vanessa
Russo. Yes, the other Vanessa has survived the day, as has Daniel Negreanu, bagging around 78,000.
Fun fact about Daniel, he never learned to read or write.
In the bag. It goes in the bag. That's correct. Just one more hand.
Yes, and the chips. Don't forget to put those in. Please tell me Phil H is coming back for day 2.
Yeah, bro.
He is indeed, as is Phil G.
Ooh, I like Vicky's designer chip bag.
Someone finally got Phil a bag, but it's of the plastic variety. In total, 230 players have survived Day 1B, and notable players returning for Day 2 include former London champs Ruben Visser and Victoria Coren Mitchell. Helmut's alive, but short, as is Joseph Waldemariam from MadCon. And with just shy of 50 big blinds, is Vanessa Selps' nemesis, William Kassouf.
Vanessa Selps kept calling her clock every time I was doing speech play with other players on the table. I think it was getting under her skin, and eventually she busted out. Some people do get the hump and go on tilt about it, but I think it's good for the game. It's live poker end of the day. I'm just the sickest fish, hence the t-shirt today.
Next time, the Poker Brat brings his short stack and big ego to the feature table.
It's hard to have 3 great years in a row. Of course. You get a little cocky. No. No, that never happens.
And don't expect Devilfish to be lost for words.
How you doing? I'm getting excited, kid.
He's been around the block, so don't count him out.
There's a bit of fight left in this old dog yet, you know?